We begin now at the top of Daf Mem Vav Amud Beis Maseches Berachos. This is Berachos Daf 46b. We're in the middle now of a brisa. The brisa is explaining that there are various kind of brachos. Some are longer and shorter, and some of them start with baruch. Some of them don't start with baruch. Some finish with the baruch, and some don't. And the brisa continues as follows: V'yesh me'en shechosem bohen bebaruch ve'in posech bebaruch. There are some brachos which end with baruch, but they don't start with baruch. Rashi explains. Let's say you have one bracha next to another bracha. You already said in the first bracha, you already said the word baruch, and that counts. You don't say baruch again in this next bracha. Rashi adds on over here, bracha achrona shebekriya shema emes v'yatziv, emes ve'emuna. Now what about the last bracha in Kriya Shema, which does not start with baruch, either starts emes v'yatziv or emes ve'emuna? Sha'afa pisha Kriya Shema mafsik bein tayim, even though Kriya Shema is an interruption, brachas delefaneha, with the brachas that are before Kriya Shema, smucha v'havela smuch l'chaverta. It's still considered to be a smuch l'chaverta. It's considered connected to the brachas before you say Kriya Shema, and that's why emes v'yatziv and emes ve'emuna do not start with a baruch. And so the Gemara concludes over here, v'hatov v'hameitiv, when it comes to the bracha v'hatov v'hameitiv, posech v'baruch ve'in chosim v'baruch, it starts with a baruch and it doesn't end with a baruch. Mechlal de bracha b'fnei atzmahi. This implies that it's independent, it's its own bracha, and therefore it implies it's not doraisa. V'yomer Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, and Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, Teda, you should know that hatov v'hameitiv lav doraisa. Hatov v'hameitiv is not doraisa. Shaharei okran osa b'beisa avel. You don't say it in the house of a mourner. You do not say hatov v'hameitiv in the house of a mourner. Kedetanya, like it says in a brisa, mahim omer beisa avel. What bracha do they say in the house of an avel? Baruch hatov v'hameitiv. The first opinion is you actually do say hatov v'hameitiv. However, Rabbi Akiva omer baruch dayan ha'emes. The bracha you say in the house of a mourner is dayan ha'emes. The idea is the mourner just experienced an event that he wouldn't consider to be a good event. So, according to Rabbi Akiva, better to say dayan ha'emes rather than the bracha hatov v'hameitiv. The Gemara asks, hatov v'hameitiv in dayan emes lo. 1 second. According to the first opinion in this brisa, is it saying you say hatov v'hameitiv and you don't say dayan emes in the house of a mourner? So the Gemara says, of course not. Ela ima af hatov v'hameitiv. What it means is that you even say hatov v'hameitiv. Everybody agrees that in a beis ha'avel it's appropriate to say the bracha of dayan ha'emes. Question is, should you also say the bracha of hatov v'hameitiv? The Gemara now goes to a story where Mar Zutra kind of combines the two brachas, the bracha of hatov v'hameitiv and dayan ha'emes in the house of a mourner. Mar Zutra ikla levei Rav Ashi isra bei milsa. Mar Zutra went to the house of Rav Ashi when somebody, a relative of Rav Ashi's, had passed away. Pasach u'baruch, and he opened and he said the following bracha: hatov v'hameitiv, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is good and he does good. But then he said, kel emes dayan emes, the true judge, shofet b'tzedek lokech b'mishpat v'shalit ba'olam olasos b'rkatzono ki chol derachav mishpat. All of his ways are judgment. Sha'akol shelo, all is his. V'anachnu amo v'avodav v'chol anachnu chayav lahodos lo u'levarcho. We are his nation, his servants, and we are obligated lahodos lo to say thanks to him and to give a bracha to him. Go there pirtzas b'Yisrael hu yagdir sa pirtzas azos b'Yisrael l'chaim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who fixes the broken fences in Klal Yisrael, should fix this as well, that it should be for life. So that was the bracha that Mar Zutra said, again, kind of like a combination of the hatov v'hameitiv and the dayan emes when he went to visit Rav Ashi, who was in mourning. The Gemara now says, Leheichon hu chozer. Where does he return to? This question is not 100% clear. Rashi explains as follows. Lahechon hu chozer mishen itztaref lezimun. So Rashi says we're talking about somebody who is part of a zimun. Va'amrin le'el aliba de Rav Sheshes. Now this question here is going according specifically to Rav Sheshes. We said before, according to Rav Sheshes, birchas zimun ad hazon, that the bracha of zimun goes all the way through hazon. So Rav Sheshes held, again, it's not just Rabbosai nevarech until uvetuvo chayinu, it's all the way through hazon. Now this guy, let's say you had one, let's say there were three people eating together and one guy was in the middle of the meal, the other two were ready to bench. So this one individual needed to wait, as we said before, that one person needs to stop his meal if the two other people want to bench. So he needs to wait till they finish hazon. Now this guy who stopped for two other people, the gamar sudaso, and then he finished his meal, what does he go back to? When when he's actually ready to bench, does he start from hazon again, or no? According to Rav Sheshes, hazon is part of the zimun, so he should just start from no dilacha. So when he goes lahechanu chozer levarech la'achar sheyigmar sudaso, where should he return to for the benching when he actually finishes his meal? So according to Rashi, this question is basically about somebody who had to stop his meal in order to accommodate two people who were saying a zimun when he's ready to bench. Where does he start from? Only the question being only according to Rav Sheshes. So Rav Zavid Mishmei Dabaya Amar Chozer Larosh. So Rav Zavid in the name of Abai says he starts from the beginning, meaning he's even though Hazan is part of the zimun, he should say that bracha again, the bracha of Hazan again. Rashi says Chozer Larosh Letchilas Hazan. He needs to start from the beginning of Hazan. Sharei Neschaya Bezimun Shebetchilo Hukva Begimel. Since he was part of zimun originally, when they were three people together, Hazan now applies to him, even though had he been, according to Rav Sheshes, if he was eating alone, he would not say Hazan at all. He would start from Nodelecha. But here, since he was part of three people, he should start from Hazan. The Rabbanan say no, he should start from where he left off, where they stopped, meaning he should, like any other Yachid, like any other individual who is benching, according to Rav Sheshes, he should just start from Birchas HaAretz, from the Brach of Nodelecha. And the halacha is, again, Lefi Rav Sheshes, the halacha is, he should begin from the area where he stopped, from the Brach of Nodelecha. Gemara now continues at the two dots. Amar le Reish Galusa Rav Sheshes. So the head of the exile, he said to Rav Sheshes as follows: Avagav de Rabbanon Kshishi Aton. Even though you are elderly Rabbanon, Parsoi B'tzarchei Suuda B'ki Minaychu. The Persians, when it comes to the proper way of eating meals, they are more expert than you are. Bisman shehin shtei mitos. Now, let's say they're eating on two beds. They used to recline when they ate meals. So gadol meisiv barosh v'sheni lo lemalo himenu. So the gadol should sit at the head, but the one who is second to him, the one who is second in importance, should place his couch or his bed by the head of the gadol. So that he's his couch, so that he's essentially where the gadol's head is. Uvizman sheim shalosh. Now, if there are three people, gadol mesa b'em, so the gadol is in the middle. Sheni lo lemala himenu. The second one is by his head. Shlishi lo lemata himenu, and the third one would be below, would be by his feet. So that's the proper way to arrange the seating at a meal. Amar lei. So he said to him, meaning Rav Sheshes said to the Reish Galusa, v'chi boyish shtuya b'hadei mitratz taretz v'yasuv v'shtoi b'hadei. So let's say when you have two people. So when the gadol wants to speak to the person who's second, he has to now turn his whole body just to have a conversation with him. That doesn't seem logical. It would seem better that he should be by his feet, not by his head. Amar lei said to him, Shani Parsai. No, the Persians are different. They actually, when they speak in conversation, they use their hands. They use kind of hinting through their hands, almost like a sign language. So it's not necessary for him to bend to speak to the person who is second to him. Now, Mayim Rishonim Mehecham Maschilin. So then he asked the Reish Galusa, the Persians, who was the first one to wash before a meal? Amar lei said to him, in Hagadol. So he says the most important person at the table, or the most important person eating at this meal, he's the one who should wash Mayim Rishonim first. So he asked him, Yashav Gadol v'yishmor yadav ad shenotlan kulan. So now what? The Gadol has to sit there waiting with his hands washed and protect his hands while everybody else is washing. That seems backwards. So he said, Amar lei said back to him, La'alter maisu tacha kamei. No, the Persians immediately bring the little table. They had like a mini table, like a tray they put in front of him. Right away he would get his food. He did not wait for the other people to wash. And then he asked the Reish Galusa, Ma'im achronim mehechen maschilin. When it comes to the Persians, who's the first one who washes at the end of a meal? Amar lei said to him, min hakotan. The lowest of the group, he's the one that washes first, and the gadol washes last. So he asks again, the gadol yasav yadav mizuhamos achenot kulan. The gadol should sit there with his hands dirty while everybody's washing his hands. He should be the first one to have clean hands. Amar lei said to him, lo masalki taka mikamei ad denamti mai legabe. No, they don't remove the tray of food from him until the water gets there. So he's actually allowed to continue eating while everybody else is washing. So now Rav Sheshes said, Amar Rav Sheshes said to the Reish Galusa, Anam masnisi yadana. When it comes to my knowledge of these issues, I know a brisa about this that says the proper way of eating. The Tanya, the brisa says as follows: Ketzad seder heseva. What is the appropriate way of reclining? Bisman shein shtei mitos. If there are two couches, two beds, gadol mesa barosh v'sheni lo lamata himenu. Then the gadol sits at the head and the sheni is below him. So it's again, so he doesn't have to turn to talk. Bisman shein shalosh. But if there are three shalosh mitos, when there are three beds, gadol mesa barosh sheni lo lamala himenu shlishi lo lamata himenu. So in that case, it actually does go the way the Persian said. The gadol sits in the middle, and the second most important person sits by his head, and the third person is lamata. Mayim harishonim. Now, what about the washing before the meal? Maschilin min hagadol. So the gadol should wash first. he should wash immediately. And Rashi explains that they're going to bring him the tray immediately, so he doesn't have to sit there waiting for everyone to wash. And what about mayim achronim? Mayim achronim, when it comes to the washing at the end of the meal, bisman shehem hey, when there are 5 people or less, maschilin min hagadol. You begin from the gadol. To wait for another 4 people to wash is not such a big deal. However, bisman shehem meya, let's say there's 100 people. Now Rashi says it doesn't have to be 100 people. It could be anything more than 5. Maschilin min hakatin. You start from the lowest of the group in status. Ad shemagim etzel hey, until you get to the remaining 5. The chozru maschilin min hagadol. Then, when it's the remaining 5, so the gadol washes first among the 5. But the Gemara clarifies a little. Ulamakom shemayim achronim chozrin l'sham bracha chozeres. So the Brisa says that the person who washes first of the last 5 people, that's what it means. The person who washes first of the last 5 people, where the mayim achronim is chozer, that is the person who should lead in the bracha, who should lead in the benching. So, as Rashi explains, Rashi says as follows: L'makam shemayim achronim chozrim kishemagim lechamisha. When they get to the last 5, im natal hagadol humevarich. If the gadol is the one that washes first of the 5, then he should make the bracha. He should lead in the benching. V'im tziva la'acher litol kodem lo. Now, if he instructs somebody else to wash before him, humevarich, so that he's allowed to give that washing to somebody else to be the first of that last set of 5, and that person will then lead in the benching. Messiah leila Rav. This supports Rav. The Amar Rav Chia Barashi Amar Rav, because Rav Chia Barashi says in the name of Rav, kol hanotel yadav ba'achrona tchila. Anybody who washes his hands, the mayim achronim first, whoever washes mayim achronim first, hum mizum lebracha, he is the one who is set to lead in the benching. Now that was a statement of Rav Chia Barashi in the name of Rav, and the Gemara now says a little story of Rav. Rav Chia haviyasvi besudasa kami de Rebbe. One time Rav and Rav Chia were sitting at a meal in front of Rebbe. Amar le Rebbe l'Rav, and Rebbe said to Rav, kum mashiyadach, go wash your hands. Chazia de kamirsis. He saw that he was a little nervous. Rav Chia saw that Rav was a little nervous, that he thought his hands were dirty or something. Why is Rebbe telling me this? Amar le said to him, Bar Pachti. Bar Pachti means the son of important people. That was a nickname for Rav. Ayin bebirchas mizona ka amar lach. Rebbe's just telling you to be leading in the benching. He's not telling you have dirty hands. This was a story that was actually quoted a little earlier in Maseches Brachos. The Gemara now continues with a brisa. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a brisa, ein mechabdin. We don't give kavod lo bidrachim v'lo b'gesharim, not on roads and not on bridges. And Rashi explains what is this referring to. Ein mechabdin lo mara haya ata kodem. We don't say to somebody, let's say you're walking on a road, in this case, we don't say you should go first because you're greater than me. You don't do that on roads or on bridges. Lo b'drachim, holchei drachim, people walking on roads, lomer legadol heimenu leich lefanai. That you tell somebody who's of greater status, walk in front of me. That's something we do not do. And the Brisa will continue with that discussion on Daf Mem Zayin Amud Aleph in the next video.